Just a quick warning, this podcast does have some swearing in it, so keep that in mind if you have any little ones about.
This Downtime podcast is brought to you by BVM Moto. Shop online or in-store for great deals and get professional advice on your favourite bikes, parts, clothing and accessories.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another podcast. It's Monday after the Scott trial, so we thought we'd do like a review of the event and how things panned out. We've got the results in front of us.
Yeah, I don't think we actually did too bad with our predictions either, did we?
No, we were there, we were close. I think you did a little bit better than I did.
I did, yeah. I reckon I was almost spot on, but not quite.
Nearly there, nearly.
Yeah. So you actually predicted that Harry Hemingway was going to win with Jack Price second and Jack Peace third, which you were almost there, but not quite.
And yeah, what did you predict?
I predicted that Jack Price was going to take the win, Harry Hemingway was going to be second, and Richard Sadler third.
So you got two of the top three correct.
Yeah, Jack Price took the win eventually. He wasn't fastest man round, but he only lost 3 on time, 19 on observation, so that was 22 in total. Richard Sadler, who I was rooting for, got a podium finish. He got second. His total was 36. He was a bit slower on time, but not far off on observation. And one that neither of us picked, actually, Billy Green, he took third position on 36 as well, tying with Richard Sadler, but lost out on the tiebreak on that. So, we weren't too far behind, really, with those scores.
Yeah, and good to see Billy up there on the podium. I think in his first attempt, I think he got pretty close and had a really good day. And I don't think he's quite had the same results since. I'm probably wrong with that, but yeah, it's good to see him up there on the podium as well.
Yeah, definitely. And not being a northerner as well. I mean, being from down Cornwall way, they do have a bit more rock that way, but it's definitely not the same as what they've got up around the Richmond area, is it?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And fastest man round was Jono Richardson. So we were a bit right with our thinking in the end that he had that tactic of he's not going to have the best scores, so he's just going to go all out and try and get in as fastest man, which is an achievement in itself.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's impressive to... it's a real kind of kudos, isn't it, to be fastest man?
Yeah, and I mean, he's on a Montesa Honda as well, which I can imagine, let's all be honest, it's not necessarily the most competitive of bikes in every event, but for something like that and what he's trying to do with it, like, that bike can take up a hell of a lot of abuse, can't it? He's just absolutely caned.
Yeah, they're very fast on the road. You've got very fast everywhere, basically. Torquey engine. A bit heavy in the sections, but yeah, for that type of, for trying to be fastest man around the Scott, well, it's based on a motocross engine, isn't it? So yeah, that there you go, really. Yeah.
And believe me, he can ride it like a motocross bike, from what I saw.
Yeah, but Jack Price was only like 3 minutes slower than him, and like the observation scores, it's 70 sections, isn't it, the Scott, and
80
sections, and to be able to go around there for like 19 marks. Or like any of the top guys who go around there for under 100, for goodness sakes, like you're doing bloody well.
Yeah, it's so impressive, and yeah, it really is, especially when they're not looking at it.
Yeah, not looking at the sections, and I suppose they're not. Are they tired? I don't know. They're so fit. They're so much better riders.
I'm pretty sure they're tired because they are pushing, aren't they? They're not staying within their comfort zone. They've got to, really, if they want to get that result. Yeah.
So you were up there on Saturday. How did it go? How was your day?
Yeah, it was really good. Really, really eventful. So I was running around after a few of our team riders. And when I say running around, I'm there on a road bike, getting between groups, and trying to catch our riders at the start of the sections, try and fuel them up with drink and food, and also tell them a line in the sections.
Yeah.
Met a lot of people in the crowds and such, had a good chat. There's a real good vibe around that event, and like the crowds, they're like 5-6 deep.
Yeah.
And like you normally think the Scottish 6 Day is like the biggest trial of the year, but I don't think the atmosphere is quite like it is at that event.
I think the atmosphere at that event, because all the riders are like struggling so hard. You can really see them struggling. You can see that there's a lot of tired people, even kind of halfway round. You can see people are tired. I think the crowd really get behind the riders. You know, even like if you're a clubman and you like half have a good ride up the section, you might get a round of applause.
Oh yeah, you definitely will. You know, everyone's rooting for everyone because it's just such a grueling event. It's like everyone gets a cheer. Doesn't matter if you're the world champion or Joe Bloggs from round the corner. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know?
and there is quite a few there's a lot of local riders, isn't there, who are literally, you know, I don't know, they might be working in Tesco's in the week, and then then they can see it, you know, out on the Scott course at the weekend, and they know a lot of local people, you know. So you do get there. It is a real buzz at a lot of the sections. It is very good from that side of things.
Yeah, and me going around on a bike as well, it meant I was able to get to a lot more places. So I ended up actually going to 7 different groups throughout the day, which is quite a lot to get in there, you know. I ended up starting at Reels Head, which was around a section 12, something like that. And even by then, you could see that they were pushing. You know, there was some tired faces already.
Yeah. Can you almost see some of them like almost as early as section 10 that they might not be finishing?
In some ways, yeah. There was the odd rider which I reckon must have got into the red early. They were pushing so hard and they looked pretty tired then, but not too many, but you could definitely tell they were working for it. So like I saw Ian Fortune, who was the only BVM rider actually to complete it this year after Tyler Rendell and Tom Hawthorne. They both went out quite early on with mechanical issues, which happens in those events. Like I know Tom had water in the bike, which caused big issues, and Tyler had something similar. So Ian is a clubman rider, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's, you know, no disrespect to Ian, but Ian is clubman expert level.
Yeah, he'd ride like if he's doing a national, he'd ride the clubman route at like the S3 series.
Yeah,
he can ride. He's ridden all his life.
Yeah, he used to be an expert rider, but now even at club level, he'll ride clubman expert, won't he?
Yeah.
Like, so he's kind of like a good standard for mere mortals to have a look at the Scott trial.
Yeah,
and when he was at section 12 at Reels Head, you could tell he was working for it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you know, it's been Ian's kind of like basically a lifelong ambition, hasn't it? Get around the Scott trial.
Yeah, I think so, and he's really trained for it the last 2 years, really, to get. And
he knows what to expect and knows how to. You'd like to think knows how to pace himself.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's getting older, so getting wiser. Like it was impressive to see because, you know, the first place at Reels Head, I was almost expecting him to be a little bit earlier than what he was. He was probably like 10 minutes back than what I thought he would be.
Were you doing that? Did you actually have a time for him, or were you doing it by like the rider numbers around him type thing?
Well, a little bit of both, but in the program, which was really good actually, they had like expected arrival time of first rider. So I was kind of calculating his rider number to sort of see roughly when he should be. And he was a little bit off that the program was saying, but I don't know how precise that was supposed to be. But anyway, you could tell he was working for it. And then at Surrender, he got there a lot quicker than what the program said. And I only just caught him. I actually had to run over the stream.
Right.
And I actually caught him after the sections at Surrender. So I thought, oh Christ, you know, he's going for it now. But bypass is when you really started to see all riders were well and truly in the thick of it.
Yeah.
By
Had it spread out a bit by then? Is it kind of a bit more waiting for individual riders to show up?
Yeah, by the time we were at Bypass, there were the top guys were at the front.
Right. Okay.
You might have had the odd kind of earlier rider mixed between them who were going really well, but you know, a good 75% of the riders were all named riders, like team riders that you could.
You often get that. You get that kind of one kind of maybe like a team type rider, you know, like 17, 18, 19, who's basically just been at the front all day, scrubbing all the sections, and somehow they're still kind of
still hanging on, still got the pace with them.
Still got the pace to stay with the top guys, and you just think, you know, they've just been at the front, slippery sections all day long, and like, how have they done that? You know, and they just look, you know, they just look absolutely exhausted, and you think you're only 2/3 of the way round or halfway round. You know, you've got double this still to go.
And like they were filthy, some of them as well. So actually, on the day, it was a real nice, clear morning, pretty fresh, but it was good. And then all of a sudden, around 1 o'clock, it absolutely hammered it down.
Yeah.
And it was so cold and freezing, and I reckon it rained for about an hour to 2 hours. And I was drenched, which means all the riders were going to be drenched because they're not wearing that much clothes because they don't want to overheat.
Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it, to know what to wear for that trial. You don't want to be too hot, and you don't want to be too cold, and it's
hard to know, like, or do you go for like a body warmer, or do you just go for like a lightweight waterproof jacket or nothing? So you
and
get
you're never going to want to like take your bib off to, you know, strip a jacket off, are you? Because time is so important, you know.
Yeah, and I think that rain really did get to them because the rain started coming just after the top guys got past Bridgend, which is quite a big famous group of sections, which you'll see in our video if any of you watch the vlogs, that it's probably the most famous section for spectators. There's like 6 deep either side of this riverbed. And by then you normally have got like a decent idea of who's going to be fastest man round and who the top runners were. And the heavens opened just after they'd come through, and I was there waiting for Ian, which was a good hour after the top boys had got through Bridgend, and he was soaking wet, and you could tell by then he was tired. Needed a bit of a prep talk, as in just like a bit of motivation, give him some drink, give him some food. He had a bloody nose. He'd had a big crash going up one of the riverbeds, but he was still determined and just cracked on like no dramas. He was on a mission.
Yeah. What type of so you had sweets, water, energy drinks?
Yeah, so I had like ride energy drinks, and then I had quite a few gels and also jelly babies. So kind of early on, I was just chucking some jelly babies down his throat, and then obviously a drink every time. And then every other group I saw him at, I was trying to give him a gel, just to have that like bit of a kick boost up, you know, to do a few of the bigger groups.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him at Reel's Head, which was kind of like the home straight, so to speak, when there was only around 15 more sections to go, he wanted a can of Red Bull.
Right, okay.
So gave him half a can before the section and then the other half after, as well as a gel again. We were just trying to get that kind of sugar rush. Yeah.
Anything to get him to the finish.
Yeah, like the tank's pretty empty by that point. You know, there was quite a lot of riders at Reel's Head that were asking how much further it was, and they were thinking about packing it in there and then.
Yeah.
But everyone was so like encouraging to him, and they were just,
because you're helping out more than you're kind of encouraging every rider, aren't you? When you get down to the starts cards, like, and be able to hand out some jelly babies and drink, like any rider
takes it, and they're grateful. Yeah,
they're grateful, you know, and it makes a big boost as a rider for, you know, some random stranger to come up and give you a few jelly babies, and you're just like, oh, cheers for that.
Yeah, and it's just like that bit of respect for him as well. Like, and the one thing I really noticed, which I think was beneficial, is being there earlier on and seeing where the line of the section was.
Okay.
Because I could go to Ian for example, I go, right, you go up the middle and then at that step, take it to the right-hand side. And he was like acing them. He was getting some cleans. And like, I half wonder if he was up there going up there blind and didn't know whether to go left or right. You know, if you take the wrong turn, if you take the left and there's a big hole and you have a 5, you're using up time and loads of energy.
Yeah, even if you get a bit offline and it's all of a sudden it turns slippery, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, you kind of, and you haven't walked the sections. You're just looking at like the red and blue flags, and if someone's a lot of the time they are straight up the stream, so it's quite obvious. But they do occasionally, I think more often now, put like a little kicker, not little like gating out to the side where you've kind of, all of a sudden you've got to be across the other side of the stream, and a few people go the wrong way and you follow the tire tracks and you do the same. It's very easy to go wrong, and like it's more as a clubman you're more worried about the energy than you are about the kind of marks, aren't you, and the time it takes.
Exactly that. Yeah, like he's not obviously still. If you've got your feet up, you're not losing as much energy. But it was more about the end result of getting in on time rather than worrying about the odd dab here or there. But that's something I've definitely noticed. The top riders, like Harry Hemingway, for example, I know, or I could see he had he had 4 different groups of mates, so to speak, who are spread around the course. So he could arrive at a group of sections and he'll have someone there to fuel him up and then, as in, give him drink and food and to tell him the line.
Yeah, it must make a massive difference.
Makes a massive difference. As well, Sherco, I saw Emma and James quite often throughout the day. I reckon they went to a hell of a lot more groups than I did, but they were always there to give drinks to their riders, and also tell them the line. Yeah. So that's half the battle.
Yeah, particularly for the top guys who are trying to clean the sections, aren't they? As well, and you can. I think you can still go up the day before and walk some of the sections.
I think that's right. I think they might try and say some are off limits. Yeah. Mainly to do with probably like trying to keep the landowners happy, but yeah, there's no way they could walk every section. No, there's not enough time in the day.
Or remember every section as well.
True, yeah. And lines will change, won't they? Once you've had like, especially near the start of the day, they've got 150 odd riders in front of them. Yeah. So the sections are going to change, aren't they?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
But yeah, that is definitely something that I think, talking to some others, has changed over the last few years. It's becoming like that little bit more elite, where those top riders have got like a real big support crew behind them. They've always got, at the tough sections, someone there to be able to tell them where the line is. Like that bridge end, for example, which is quite a tricky, hard sub. There was people to tell them, exactly what rocks to be on. Obviously, they've still got to go out there and perform and do it, but having that bit of extra info really does help.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And it was interesting being there at Bridgend as well, because I think I caught up. There was Dougie waiting for his lad, Alfie Lampkin. All the top runners were there. The Hemingways were there. It was just so impressive seeing like the top guys. Like Jack Price got into a little bit of trouble on Bridgend, but he still had the energy and the wits about him. He really fought for it and still managed to get it clean. Like, and Dougie was saying, stood back at the start gate. He's like, he's still on it. He's still got energy.
Yeah. You do watch them have some, like, they can just do a flick, can't they? And all of a sudden they're like back online.
Yeah.
And it is, even though it's nothing, the sections are not the severity of like the British or World Championship, it's still a good ride. Yeah. And you can watch a clubman go up the same section, which I think is, it's a bit of a leveler not being able to walk the sections. It means
definitely,
and the fact everyone's tired. But I don't know if that's a leveler or not in a way, because the top guys seem to they're better riders, so they can save energy. So but it's a very, very physical, brutal event, isn't it?
Yeah, and like Rails Head on the way back, which was section 65, I think, something like that. It with 15 left to go, there were people riding it, crashing, and normally you would just step off the bike holding the handlebars, but they were kind of, bike went one way, they went the other, they couldn't hold on, their whole bodies were cramping up. I hope she doesn't mind me saying, but Alice Minter, she came off at Rails Head and just seized up
Yeah.
I think she was in tears, like had to get the bike off of her. She just was upside down. She just physically was exhausted.
Yeah.
And fair play to her. She got going again and got in on time as well. And after seeing that, I just think, Christ, she's one tough cookie as well.
Yeah. And like someone that's riding the bike all the time.
Yeah.
And you think they've got so much like bike fitness, which you can't I don't think you can get from doing anything else, going to the gym or, whatever you do. I don't think it's anything can kind of prepare you as well as riding your bike. And for riders like that to be in that position just shows how, how physical
how physical it really is. Yeah. Like I know Ian really well. Like I rode the Scottish 6-day with him this year. I know exactly what his ability is and his fitness levels at. And, I think it was always quite emotional to see him finish actually, because it was stressful. I was waiting there at the end, and it was, I'd heard that fastest man came in around 3:00, and they've got 2.5 hours from that to get in on time.
Yeah, and you have to do the calculation about what time they started as well, don't you?
Yeah, exactly like that. And I was thinking, oh Christ, like it needs to be kind of not long after 5:00. I was thinking. And I was waiting for him to come around the corner, and when I saw him turn up at about 5 to 5, I was just like ecstatic, thinking, oh my God, like get up this final section to get through that finish gate, and you've done it, you've achieved it.
Yeah.
And actually we do have a recording of Ian coming over the finish line, which we'll play for you now, so you can hear like the type of emotion that he had when he found out that he'd finished and potentially in time. You finished, mate, and you're in time.
Am I?
I'm pretty sure. All right, they're saying that you finished roughly around 3:00, and it's 5:00, so that's like 2 hours, and it's 2.5, mate. I think you've done it, mate. He was hugging me at this point. You got blood all over your face.
Yeah, mate, had it big enough.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, mate. Honestly, I think you're in. I think you're in on your time. Fair play to you. Fair fucking play. And that's got harder because it's rained again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those grassy banks. Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
With a moose on the back.
Not get a feeling for grip.
No, nothing at all.
Do you think it's better not to have a moose then?
It is, but I was passing a lot of people and their tyres come off the rim.
Ah, so yeah, so it's better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair play to you, mate.
Oh, mate, I couldn't have done it without you, though.
Well done, mate. Well done. So, what is it like to finish the Scott trial then? You're the only BVM rider to finish.
Best speed in the world. Thanks to you, mate.
No, it wasn't me, it's all you.
No,
All we
helped me
did
out
is shove
massively.
some
Petrol in it.
petrol in it. Well, no, not that. Petrol in you. Some fuel, some ride nutrition, some jelly
Yes, mate.
babies,
Yeah.
some Red Bull.
I couldn't have done it without you, mate.
You look
Very
a bit
good.
worse for wear, man. You
Do I?
don't look good.
Do I not?
You look rough. Did you cramp up at all?
Legs did. Arms are fine.
Really?
Just my legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just my legs.
Just keeps on going as well.
Yeah. In the back of your head, you can't.
You can't realise how
can't-
hard long it is.
Oh yeah, and you just can't stop for too long either.
No. That's
It's
why it
just
has
always-
to be at the section, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You ain't got time to stop on the side of the moor to like.
You're almost waiting for the fuel stop so you can have a bit of a breather.
Yeah.
Especially when they can't find your can in time. But no, they were pretty on it, to
Were
be
they?
honest. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good, mate. Thanks to you.
No worries,
And you?
no worries. Yeah, I think having, like we're saying, a bit of emotional support as well, like
Yeah.
have someone there to cheer you on and tell you you're doing good. I think that can go a long way. But yeah, fair play to him. He's got one up on me there. There's no way I think I could complete that after going up there and watching it this year.
Oh, maybe you could have a crack next year.
No, I don't think so. I honestly don't think I've got the speed. They're just so fast. It's just
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
And that one bit you heard Ian talking about with the moose, he was running a moose in the rear. And I've actually heard from him this morning, and he's gone and pumped his rear wheel up, taken the moose out, and he's got like 7 or 8 slits in the rear tyre.
Yeah.
So he says that like by having that moose, it made it a little bit tricky on the like cross canvas and all. It wasn't quite as nice as like a tubeless system.
Yeah.
But he said he overtook so many riders who were having punctures, and it was just one less thing he had to worry about. So you think that really helped him?
Yeah. If you're not going there to like win the event or worry about your scores in the sections, then when you go there to finish, a puncture could put you out of the. You haven't got time to fix a puncture, have you?
No,
Really,
not at all.
In theory, you have,
not at club level.
No.
Club level riders, they haven't got
Yeah.
the time. I don't think.
Well, you think I could just put like a repair strip in and away you go, but there's a bit more to it than that. You can put a massive split in a tyre and you're out of the event, and it's no one's coming to help you. You're unlikely to be where there's any support or spare butt wheel or anything like that in that trial. The chances of you finding that are pretty slim.
Yeah, definitely. But no, all in all, a really, really great, fantastic event, and it's made me want to go back every year. Really, like the atmosphere. I got to speak to loads of people in the crowds, other riders and all. It was just like really nice atmosphere, and like I thoroughly enjoyed it. But, it's one of those that I'm glad I definitely went.
Yeah, it's one of those events that I think if you're a trials rider, you need to get yourself there, whether it's riding, spectating, it's something that any rider can aim for.
Definitely. If you're a trials rider, get up there and go and watch it. The Richmond Motorcycle Club put on an amazing event, and it's definitely worth going to watch, even if you're not thinking of attempting it yourself. Definitely get up there and go and support the event.
Yeah, give it a go.
So we're going to do a little segment as well every time we do a podcast about what's new coming into the shop. We've had a few new things this week, haven't we, Lawrence?
Yeah, we've had the TRRS RR, the 2025 models. They've come through. So, a few little updates on those. The big one really is the fact they've got a tech rear shock. It's be interesting to try one of those out and see how it compares to the Riga.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to have a go on one of those. They've been around for a little while, but they've not really been on many bikes as a factory fit, so to speak, have they? So there's not loads of kind of info about them yet. So, I'm definitely keen to try that.
Yeah, well, the tech front forks have been kind of the market leader for quite a few years now, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So, it'd be interesting to see what that's like. And I think they've also got like a longer kind of front pipe to them.
Yeah, do you reckon it's longer? It's definitely different, as in I reckon it's made by S3 because it looks very similar to that S3 aftermarket pipe I had fitted. But do you think it could be longer as well?
I don't know for sure. But it looks very smooth. It's lost a lot of its kind of extra wows, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've had a couple of customers in already, and they've been a bit like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I like that." Like they quite liked having all those kind of weld ridges around it and such. But I have heard from a exhaust specialist before that apparently it's actually better if it's not got as many welds because it's got like a better gas flow if it's used with like continuous bent pipe.
Yeah, that's it's similar to like when people port bikes, isn't it? They kind of make the exhaust gases kind of travel smoother. Basically, it's kind of what you want to get more power out of the bike. So they definitely look smart. Been like a big seller, but it's a bike that's sold very well for the last kind of like few years. So
it should be good. And you'll see. I'm sure you'll see a few of those out at trials pretty soon.
Yeah.
And what else have we got? We've also had some new boots, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got some new Gaerne boots in a very cool red colour. Red boots always seem to sell well. So they were kind of a bit of a surprise to see them. All of a sudden, it's like they've landed in the UK and they're in stock. So that was all kind of really, really quick.
Yeah, it happened really, like you say, really fast, didn't it? And like you say, the Alpine Star, they did a red set, which have been out for a good year or two now, and you see a lot of those around. And again, look like they've kind of jumped onto that as well. And they do look very, very smart. They do stand out a bit.
Yeah, for some reason, it's always been like a traditional colour of boots, I think, hasn't it? Kind of red, even going back years and years ago to like red Alpine Stars.
Yeah, a little bit of a retro kind of vibe to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that Gaerne trials boots are some of the best on the market. It's ones that we would normally like really recommend. They're lightweight, flexible, waterproof, durable. You know, they've kind of got it all. The only thing that they maybe don't offer quite as well as, say, your Alpine Stars are, they don't offer loads of protection, but you do have lots of flexibility, which a lot of people like, and the fact they're so lightweight. And I'd probably say they're the only trials boot that we confidently say are waterproof.
Yeah, they're good. We've got those in stock, all on the website, available to purchase. Should you want any?
Perfect. So I think that about wraps it up. This weekend we're off to the last of the S3 National Championship rounds, aren't we?
Yeah, we're off up to Sheffield.
Yeah, for the Jack Wood, which is based around the Sheffield area. Should be good. Looking forward to getting your ass kicked by me this weekend.
Oh, I've got a later number, so I've got the advantage, I reckon.
You've got a bit of an advantage, but
yeah.
I don't know, you're going to need it, that's for sure, the way I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you up to date with that. For those of you that don't know, the S3 National Championship, that is like a championship that's spread around the whole of the UK, and it normally consists of one lap of around 40 sections, which will involve road work. So they always make for good videos and a good full day out. So hopefully we'll ride all right, and we'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, should be good.
Thank you very much.
Keep up to date by following us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.